Welcome back to another episode of the Miami Heat Roundtable. I'm your host, Amir. You can find me at the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast. We got Martel. You can find him at the Miami Heat Zone podcast. We got Ernest. You can find him at Miami Heat Talk. And we got Trent. Please don't crash your bike right now. Riding on the streets. You can find him at Miami Heat Network. You could also find him on the streets right now, literally.
Where's the cranberry juice, Trent? Where's the cranberry juice, bro?
Yeah, where's that? He's making a tiki talk right now. So boys, it's been a while. We haven't had an episode where it's just the four of us, right? So I mean, we've had
Just the
guests,
four of
but
us.
we all haven't been available lately. So the crew is back together. Happy to see all your faces.
Yeah,
So
buddy.
a lot has not been happening, obviously, with the offseason, especially after we all know we just re-signed Haywood Highsmith, which I think is a good thing, on a cheap contract. And now it looks like we don't have any room for another roster spot, even though we have a roster spot available. We're $2 million away from the second apron, so it looks like we're going to be going into the regular season and training camp with the roster that we have right now. So our three favorite words that we keep saying year after year: run it back. Terry Rozier, he's back. That's a good thing. That's some good news. We'll talk about that. He's cleared from his neck injury. We don't know how that happened, but Terry mentioned it. Hey, he said he's excited to run it back with this team to see what they can do to shock the world once again. Let's start off with Martel. What do you think about Terry's statement? First off, how happy are you that he's back? Because that's a positive. Let's focus on the positive. He's healthy. But what are your thoughts on the sentiment of Terry thinking it's good that he's back and we're going to run it back?
It's really not good that we're running it back because also to think about it like this. I mean, does Terry solve some of the scoring issues? Yes and no, because even when Terry, was on this roster, we still really couldn't score the basketball. My whole thing about running it back is how many times are we going to run back the same core over and over and over again? Stephen A. Smith, he even said it on the OG podcast with Udonis Haslam. Oh, well, why are the Miami Heat, why are they looking for a star when they have Tyler Hero? Because Tyler Hero is really not that type of guy where he's going to give you 25 points a night. None of the all-star type guys that we have like on our roster in terms of Jimmy Bam and Tyler, they can't give you like a random 30-point game every now and then. They don't do that. So I just think that running it back right now, especially with, I think we have like one of the worst rosters out of the few that we've had. So how on earth are we going to keep running this core back after we already been in the play-in tournament twice? We can sit here, wish, hope, pray, and say, well, Heat culture and don't worry that the other teams will get hurt, but that's not guaranteed. People are saying that Jimmy Butler is going to play 70 games because he's in his contract year. Why would he all of a sudden play 70 games? Why? Because guess what? At the end of the day, even if he leaves, he's going to get his money regardless. If all these guys like Paul George and all these other guys get their bag, why wouldn't Jimmy get it? And Jimmy played more games than Paul George. So I just think that I don't know what this Miami Heat roster is doing. I think they're going young in front of us, but they're not going to just come out and say that.
Ernest, what are your thoughts on running it back one more time and depending on health? Because that's like the biggest if, Trent's favorite word, if. And realistically, if they're healthy, then we have a higher ceiling than the play-in. But that's a big if with Jimmy, with Tyler, with other players on this roster. So what are your thoughts on the sentiment of running it back?
I mean, I think this is the only year where we're running it back where it's like, okay, I think we're going to get to the light at the end of the tunnel because I agree with what Martel said. Like, why do we expect Jimmy to all of a sudden play over 70 games? I mean, contract year, Martel, I'm sure you know this with any sport. In a contract year, a player does step up a little bit more. But you're right. Jimmy's going to get his money regardless. However, dude turns 36 next year. I don't think it'll be as easy as Paul George. Paul George was 34. It is a big difference. So I think Jimmy's going to have to give it a little bit. Does that really solve the issue? Because what's the problem that we've all had with Jimmy Butler? It's not about how many games he plays. I mean, that is one issue, but it's about how much he actually tries in these games. Because sure, Jimmy could play 70 games next year, but if 35 of those games are where he scores 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, standing in the corner doing nothing, does that really help you to what a Jaime Jaquez can do during the regular season who actually cares more? So the main problem, we've said this so long, and I don't want to bring up old times, but I'll say this. In 2022, Jimmy Butler missed the same amount of time, and we were able to carry a first seed. It was because the players around were healthy. Tyler played a lot of games. Kyle played a lot of games. Caleb Martin stepped up. Gabe Vincent stepped up. Max Strus stepped up. There was a lot of guys that played a lot of games. PJ Tucker played a lot of games. Bam Adebayo. So I don't really think it's necessarily Jimmy. I think if next season, if we, run it back, if Tyler can play more than 70 games, if Terry can play more than 70 games, Bam, Jaime, Jovic, Ware, then I think that we may have a chance to stay at least at the top 6 of the East. I'm not saying we're a top 3, top 2 team. All I'm saying is get this team to the playoffs, see what the hell they can do in 7 games. If they don't do anything, let Jimmy walk. Now it's time to build around Bam. At least this is the final year where we can get an answer. Are we going to keep this build moving forward or blowing it up? It's not going to be like 2023 where we don't have an answer. I think this is going to be the year that towards the end of the season, we're finally going to have our answer. Keep it going, blow it up.
My only problem with that, Trent, before you hop in, is we already know what this core can do, and it's not win games together because, Trent, you gave us the stat all throughout the season. When Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler played, what was their record, right? We don't know that number anymore on top of my head, but they were below 500. That was the issue.
Well, that's when he started. That's when he started. Remember, Trent gave another number when Tyler came off the bench. So that was a different number.
That's fair, but they still haven't won a championship, which is the ultimate goal. Like, this build is in year 6 now, I think, and it hasn't worked. So we already kind of know the answer, even with health. Like, I still don't, as this team is, the only way I can see them going far is if PG or Embiid gets hurt, so they're out of the equation. If KP gets hurt and someone else on Boston gets hurt, and if someone on the Knicks gets hurt, I think that's our only path, and we have to be healthy. So everything has to go right. It's not impossible, right? Anything's possible according to Kevin Garnett, right? So, but I agree with you, Ernest. I think if we are healthy, we could be 5 or 6 seed for sure, right? We could even be. I think getting into the top 4 is gonna be difficult if healthy. To your point, if Tyler plays 70, if Jimmy plays 65, 70 games, I think you're right. I think that's the range. Get us in the tournament. Anything can happen. It's possible, but I think it's unlikely with this current roster. Trent, trade Jimmy. Eric Spoelstra sucks. What do you got? Let's hear your thoughts.
Yo, listen, man. Miami Heat for life, man. We ain't trading Jimmy. Spoelstra, the best coach in the world, man. What you talking about, man? All right? That's what we ride. That's what we repping right now. But now, in seriousness, though, enough of all this, trade talk. There's nothing we can do now. We got to ride out with this roster, so it is what it is. I'm happy to see Terry and Tyler go at it and see what happens.
That's really all we can control. That's really all we can control at this point, man. I mean, it's like I said, let's say if this team has another good run during the season, they stay healthy. Okay, you can make a decision. Are we going to extend Jimmy or are we not? You want to say that Jimmy's going to retire here, but at what cost? You don't want to put yourself in the Kyle Lowry hole again. But if this team, let's say they are a play-in team again, let's say they don't make the playoffs. That's actually best case scenario for the Heat. Because if the Heat don't make the playoffs with this team, then they're going to get their draft pick. It's lottery protected in 2025.
Hey, Ernest,
so
hold up.
Tell me.
One second. I have a question real quick. So at trade deadline, and if this team is not in the playoffs before the trade deadline, heading into the trade deadline, do we trade Jimmy then?
Yeah, because if you're not a playoff team, if you're not, here's the thing. We don't have our draft pick.
Sorry to cut you off. Define playoffs. Do you mean a top 6 seed or 7 and 8? Because that's considered now play-in.
Well, or 9 and 10.
If we're 9 and 10, there you go. Go from there. Sorry, Ernest. Just wanted to clarify.
Oh, I'll be honest. If we're not a top 6 seed, I think we should trade Jimmy either. If we're a playing team again, what's the point?
Yeah. No, I mean, look. I 100% agree there. I love Jimmy. I love Jimmy on this team. But A, we didn't draft him. And B, it's business. You cannot put yourself in a Kyle Lowry hole. I was the guy that was running the positive train all year. Y'all remember in the season, I'm sure the fans remember all the conversations we were having mid-season. I was the guy that was saying, give them the benefit of the doubt. Look what happened in the playoffs in 2023. Doesn't matter what happens in the season. Get them to the dance. See what can happen. The problem was the team ran with that same mentality all season long, and it blew up in their faces. This is the final year. So if the Miami Heat, if Jimmy's not stepping up during the season, if they're the 9th or the 10th seed, why the hell? I mean, look, positive Heat fan, your Heat culture. Remember the 2017 season when we went 11-30 and then we went 30-11 the second half of the season. what good did that do us? You know, it got us Bam. That's cool. But we could have gotten Tate. Like, you know, we could have gotten a way better draft pick.
Mhm.
If the Miami Heat are the 9th seed or the 10th seed by the trade deadline and you have an opportunity to make a trade, fine, make a trade. Because for all you know, you make that trade and maybe you get better. Maybe these young guys step up. Or you don't make the playoffs, you get your draft pick back, and in 2025, there's a loaded draft class coming in. If the Heat are a part of that, imagine what they can do if they get in the lottery. You can get a pick, and now you can actually build. It's like I've said before, you guys, the last 25 years, we've had incredible gold seasons. There's no problem having a couple silver years if you're trying to go back to gold. Like, get your finances in order. We've tried this build for a few years. It's worked a lot of times, but we haven't gotten a ring. To Trent and Martell's point, they said it every year. It's championship or bust. If you don't win a championship, maybe it's time to do different things. Maybe this Tyler getting injured every year thing is something to tell you, maybe this is not the guy. Maybe Jimmy, maybe this is not the build. We love the Miami, the Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway build. A team never won a championship. And Pat Riley knew when it was time to pull the trigger. He traded Mashburn. He traded PJ Brown. He got Eddie Jones. He got Anthony Mason. Sometimes in business, you got to make a difficult decision, but sometimes it works for you. So, yeah, I'd do it.
There's one thing, Martel, before you jump in. I was watching 5 Reasons, and Ethan and Alex were talking, and they actually said, Ernest, it's better if we make the playoffs this year so we don't get the draft pick because it's lottery protected. They're saying that it's better that if we're bad next year, if Jimmy doesn't re-sign with us, it's better to have our pick the following season. Actually, I don't know.
You mean 2026?
Yes, exactly. Not the 20.
Well,
I don't know. Ethan said that on
because it's unprotected. Yeah, because it would be our pick. I mean, sure, that's fine. Right. But what I think what they were meaning by that is that for next season, you're already going to have all these players. So, and Ethan, he's connected to the teams. He knows the Heat ain't going to make a trade. He knows there's not going to make a trade. He knows they're going to play. They're going to make the playoffs. Whatever seed there are, they're going to make the playoffs. And they're going to see what they go from there. That's what we know that this Heat team does. What I'm hoping for next year is that everybody could look in the mirror, say, hey, our way didn't work last year. Let's listen to Spo and let's do it right during the season. I just want to see, I've never seen a fully committed team during the season. I only saw it one year, 2020. And in that year, when everybody was committed, Jimmy, Bam, Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero, all these guys, we were one of the top teams in the East. Every year after that, injury. 2022, we were the first seed, and Jimmy only played 58 games. That's because the collective team around him was actually playing. So if this team can do it again this year, bro, I know we say that they're not a top 5 team, but bro, this team could shock the hell out of people. Like, they really can if they just get it the hell together, bro.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, some of the best organizations, they always get off of a player before they really go off the cliff. And you know, I'm not saying that we have to just hurry up and trade Jimmy Butler, but we also got to think about the future. You know, we also have to recoup some of the assets that we've mismanaged. So there's a lot of things going on right now with this Miami Heat roster. It's just a shame, you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, don't worry, Jimmy's going to come back, you know, motivated and whatnot. Listen, I hope. I'm not saying that he has to play 82, but as long as that effort is there, as long as, you know, because even Kevin Love, you know, he said that we need to take the regular season seriously. Same thing with Haywood Highsmith. He said that it starts during training camp. We need to take the regular season seriously. We can't like afford to start off the season 8-8 and then now we're in a hole compared to all these other teams. Bro, the East is loaded. I know that it's a paper thing, but the East is loaded in terms of overall talent. Go ahead, Trent.
So, what I always say too, right? When you look at the landscape of the NBA real quick, right? And we talked about this before, man, a long time ago about a video, right? But the team's updated and teams have a lot more stars now. I mean, when you just look at the East real quick, Philly has a big 3 that they're all stars in my opinion. Tyrese Maxey is an all-star. Paul George, all-star. Joel is the second best big, right? Then, I mean, you can look at New York. Jalen Brunson's a star player, and then they got a bunch of mediocre, I don't want to say mediocre, but
good
high-level role players.
Yeah, high-level role
B+ players.
Right? So then you got the Knicks, and then, like, you got these young teams that I continue to keep saying, Ernest, you wasn't on the episode last time, but I've been talking about this Pacers team and this Magic team and stuff like that. They're in our way. They're in our way. I don't care what anybody says. They made it to the playoffs. They went to a dog battle with Donovan Mitchell, and then the Pacers made it to Eastern Conference Finals. So you can't say, oh, they're just going to fall off. No, they're going to get better. They have good coaches over there, and they improved. So the only team that I say that we're better than right now at this moment, right? But and this is the Cavaliers. At this moment, we're only better than the Cavaliers. That's just my opinion. Y'all have other opinions, but at the
Playoff
top
wise,
seven,
or you mean in the playoffs, not regular season, right?
no, right now. I'm talking about today, right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I think every team's better than us besides the Cavaliers. And that's because they just improved their roster. Now, when the regular season hits, okay, maybe it could be a little bit different. Stuff happens, Maybe Tyler actually is a 25-point scorer, whatever the case may be. I don't know, right? Jovic takes that leap, Jaime takes the leap and stuff. But right now, there's only one team that we're better than, and that's the Cavaliers. And it's simple as that. Every team in front of us made a move. Every single team made a move, and our move is Alec Burks. That's it.
Well, to your point, Trey, here's what I'll say. If you're talking to a Miami Heat representative and you tell them that the Heat didn't make the move, their response to you would be, we did. Terry Rozier was the move.
Last year.
Now, exactly. But remember, and I swear to God, I hate saying this because I know this is the Miami Heat stigma. The moment he got on the team, game 3, Tyler got hurt. So you've never seen Terry with this team acclimated. He's going to have a full training camp. I pray to God that they stay healthy. Technically, next season, you're going to see the Miami Heat team with a move made with the Rozier trade. Now, I said this in my video recently. Miami Heat fans, the way they look at this team is always with a hindsight 2020 mindset. Because last year, I'm sure you guys remember, everybody was calling the trade Kyle Lowry. But had we not traded Kyle Lowry, that actually would have been way better. Because you would have had all that money available to maybe re-sign Caleb Martin, maybe get somebody else, maybe sign DeMar DeRozan, but you didn't. You traded for Terry Rozier, who had 2 years left in his contract. So that put you in a hole for the next 2 years. So that was the move. Technically, it was last year, but this year, that's what the Miami Heat are going to say. We have our move. It was Terry. We have a big 4. Now we just got to see how they go together. And go ahead, Trent.
No, I agree with you. I think that's why I think Miami is not desperate. But what I would say is Tyler and Terry is a terrible defense right there. That's terrible defense right there, right?
That's like Trae Young and DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, that's awful right there alone, right? And then also, I mean, you don't even gotta know hoops. Tyler needs the ball in his hand, and Terry is trying to play a different position, but that kind of takes his value away from what we traded him for, right? We traded him to be that foreign guard. And I understand people have to make sacrifices to win championships, but we traded for him. Don't forget, we traded a first-round pick.
Yeah.
First-round pick for Terry. So we need Terry to be that 20-plus point scorer. And also, your project with Tyler Herro it's dwindling down. It's really just simple as that. We can't do nothing about that. Like, you got to get off we got to get off that. And you know what's going to happen to everybody in this group right here? Not everybody, but just to talking to y'all. You see what the Bulls are doing to Zach LaVine? They're offering a first-round pick to get off him. That's going to happen to Tyler. We're going to have to offer a first-round pick or even second-round picks or 2 second-round picks to get off Tyler next season. I call this right now.
But it's not apples to apples because LaVine's making $50 million. Tyler's not going to make that much. He's making way more, so it's a little different.
Yeah, like they're talking about like 1 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks just to get off of him.
Yo, listen.
But Trent does have a point though, because nobody wants to take his salary now.
Yeah.
Bro, listen, the Miami Heat are trying to trade people right now, but nobody wants Duncan's salary and nobody wants Tyler's salary, and I don't blame them.
I don't know about Duncan. Duncan's expiring. Duncan's expiring.
I thought he had like 2 more years, no?
2 more years.
No, he has 1 more year and then a player option. This is his final year.
Go ahead, Trent. His back though, right? His back, and I get the
what is up with that though?
Yeah, no one has said anything about that.
I've been hearing that it's like messed up.
That's concerning to anybody in the league because, bro,
especially a shooter.
Bro, you seen what happened when he was playing in that playoffs. He couldn't do
it was bad.
But he came back too early. That's bad. But
here's the thing: is he healed? I haven't heard anything. Like, what's going on? Is there any update? I haven't heard anything about it. It's a back injury, but back heals.
But it might not, though. Sorry, Trent, look at this. Think about this. Yeah. T-Mac's career got derailed because of his back spasms and his back injury. Like, you can get healed from it, but it depends on how severe the back injury is.
Sucks,
right?
Man.
So we don't know. We don't know.
Ernest, you brought up Caleb Martin. You brought up Caleb Martin, right? And this is how I feel. If you leave my team, you're the ops. And real quick, I understand he had to say what he had to say, but F. Caleb Martin talking about he's joining a winning culture with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Bro, he has to
What
say
has
that, bro.
He's got to say that. He's got to say
No,
that.
he
What
don't.
is he gonna
You
say?
know what
Oh,
he
I'm in a
really wants to
losing
say?
culture?
You know what Caleb really wants to say? Caleb wants to go on the podium and say this. My agent is a moron. I'm going to fire him after this season. And if it
Better.
wasn't for my agent, I would still be a Miami Heat player right now. Thank you, Caleb Martin's agent, for digging us out of that hole, because you know what, you guys? Ain't nobody was offering Caleb Martin $14 million a year. And that's what the Heat did. It was going to be a 5-year, $65 million contract. He had to opt into the first year with the
Final,
player
yep.
option.
Yep.
Then every year it would have been $14 million per year, because it would have been a 4-year, $58 million extension. I ain't trying to do that. We don't know what this Jimmy Butler is going to do, what this build's going to be. I say try to free up as much money as you can. Let's see what happens with this team, because if you did that with Caleb, you would have been stuck for another 4 years.
That's like another Dion Waiters kind of. I mean, he's good, but not that good, right? Like for 14
But,
million for
hold up.
5 years, that would have been bad.
Yes, he has to say that, but no, you really don't.
No, he
Like,
doesn't.
You don't really. He does not have to say that, right? You could come up there and be honest. You're not going to get fined for being honest. I'm not saying to say what Ernest said. That's a little bit different. But if you just say, listen, money talks. Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Money talks.
Or even I'm
Right?
just
If he would've
excited
said
to be
that,
on
he
a
would've
new
stayed with the
team.
Heat.
I'm excited to play with PG and Embiid. He doesn't need to. They haven't won
Or
in
you could
41
say
years,
things
by
like,
the way.
well,
That's the last time the Sixers won a championship.
Why?
41 years.
Dude, I don't care what anybody says. You don't just, bro, 76ers don't have a culture. Only people that talk about culture is Miami. I don't care what y'all say. That's shots at Miami. That's really just simple as that.
You know
Yo,
what,
but
man? Caleb was probably butthurt, y'all. Remember, he lost his starting job to Jovic. We don't
Who
know.
cares? He
There
didn't
must
want to
have
know,
been.
but he didn't want to. But he didn't want to play the 4, though. He didn't want to play the 4.
I mean, if he's saying, I'm just trying to go by what Trent is saying. If he's making
And
comments
look-
that kind of snipe for the Heat,
No. Look, 5 Reasons said it too. They sat Caleb Martin down and said, "Yo, listen, this is what we're telling your agent.
yep,
This is what we're telling your agent. It's not gonna work." And guess
Yep.
what? When they opted out of the deal, they told them, before you guys opt out, you guys can't come back for the same number. They came back and said, "Hey,
After
can we
the
get the
season,
same
yeah,
number?"
'cause
It's
because they
too
couldn't
late.
do it.
It's too,
Yeah,
now
because
it's too late.
yeah, because the only way it would have worked, he had to opt in the $7 million player option,
Final year,
and
yeah,
then
the-
that would have kept
and
them
then-
under the second apron. The Heat could have given the Heat had his bird rights. They could have given him a 5-year, $65 million contract. It's just that they would have been a second apron team. And I'm sorry for Caleb Martin, I'm not going into the second apron. That's the dumbest thing you
That
can
would have
do.
been an overpay.
Exactly.
He's coming off of a down year. How are you going to give him a raise after he came off of a down year?
He should have opted in. He should have.
But-
Bro, that would have been a dumb contract from the Heat. I'm so glad that
What's-
didn't happen.
I agree.
But what's your starting lineup for everybody?
The Heat.
That's a good question.
like,
Oh,
Yeah,
what's
I
your
got
starting
you.
lineup?
I got you. If it's me, if I'm starting this team, no way I'm starting Terry and Duncan next. Tyler and Duncan next to Terry. People are gonna call me crazy, but we need defense out there, especially if you want to start Jovic. I would go Bam or Ware or Jovic. Most likely Jovic, because you need Ware to start. So Bam, Jovic, Jimmy, Highsmith, and Rozier. Highsmith averages 40% from the 3-point line, 6'5" with a 7'1" wingspan. He's going to make up the defensive tendencies that Terry doesn't bring. You have Highsmith out there as the starting 2, standing in the quarter, shooting threes, guarding the best player so Jimmy doesn't have to. 7'1" wingspan. He can guard multiple positions. Jovic and Rozier, not known for their defense. Now you have Bam, Jimmy, and Rozier. And look at this bench coming off, and look at this lineup coming off the bench. Tyler Hero as the 6th man. Duncan Robinson as the sniper. Jaime Jaquez as a Swiss Army knife. Kel'el Ware as the monster coming off the bench. And you still got guys like Alec Burke, Josh Richardson, Kevin Love to fill out the roster. You start Highsmith at the 2. That's the answer. Tyler and Duncan need to come off the bench. That, to me, is the best lineup to go with in the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue like what we want versus what they're going to do, because we all agree that Trent wants Tyler off the team, so that's his best lineup, right? Option right there. But we all agree that Tyler should be the 6th man, but that's not going to happen. He doesn't want
piss
to
Trent
play.
off.
Exactly. He's like, why are you talking about Tyler? So we all know that Tyler wants to be a starter, thinks he's a starter. Pat Riley in his presser doubled down and said Tyler is a starting guard, right? So even
Good
Pat
Lord.
said that. So I agree with what you're saying. I think, Ernest, like optimal wise, I think that could work. And I would maybe entertain Duncan over Highsmith, perhaps, or even put Duncan in and put Jovic on the bench and put Highsmith
Yeah.
at the 4. Tinker around that, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think realistically, Tyler's going to start. I think it's going to be they might start the season off testing Tyler and Terry. I hope they don't.
You're right. You're
Or
I
they
mean,
convince
two
Terry
guys
to
making
come off
20
the bench.
million.
Right? Maybe they convince Terry to come off the bench, and it's like Tyler, Duncan, Jovic, Bam, and Jimmy.
Tyler at the point just does not work. They've tried it
It does
before.
not.
They tried it in 2021. Remember, after the bubble, they didn't know they wanted. Tyler had all this momentum. So it's like, what do we do with Tyler? We don't throw him in the point guard. Didn't work. Every time Tyler plays a point, he's not a point guard. Terry's not a point guard. You want another answer? Take that $5.2 million mid-level exception. Go get Patrick Beverley. Go get a point guard.
Because it doesn't
Go
go
get
against it doesn't go against the apron, right? With the mid-level.
No,
exception, right?
no. It's your
Yeah, but
mid-level
then I would
exception.
rather have like Tyus Jones or Lonnie Watson.
He's not gonna
somebody
take
else.
that.
Sure. Any of
Dennis
them.
Smith Jr.
Give me a
Dennis
point
Smith
guard.
Jr.?
Give me a
Dennis
point
Smith
guard.
Jr.?
With Dennis Smith, I think you can get him for the minimum. I'm talking
He's
the
not
mid. I mean,
even Dennis Smith's not a real point guard, though. I think Tyus Jones is kind of like that real traditional.
yeah, I
point
think
guard.
I'm surprised he's still a free agent. Like, I'm surprised, but I don't know what type of money he's gonna get. But dude, no, I mean, just for me, get a point guard. But what I'm trying to say is, if you start whoever you start, if you take Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, and Tyler Hero, you take any of those 3 guys and start them in the backcourt, it's not the answer, because those two, whoever's starting in the backcourt, are going to get their ass blown out defensively. When they're
Targeted all
defending,
day.
yeah, you saw it. So in my opinion, you take Haywood Highsmith, start him with Terry Rozier, that's your backcourt. You have a defensive specialist who could shoot threes, and you have your scorer in Rozier. You have Hero, Duncan, and Jaime Jaquez coming off the bench. 3 guys that any of them, any given night, can give you 20 to 30. And then you have Khalil Ware and Kevin Love coming off the bench as your big man. I think it works.
Hey, let me say something real quick. This is kind of off topic, but I just got this report, and this is wild. And this is why we don't trade for Brandon Ingram. He wants $200 million. Yeah, I'm good off that.
And he's fraudulent. He's fraudulent.
Yeah, no, $200 million contract extension, and
Hell no.
yeah, we're talking about, and that's another thing, right? And I know it's off topic, but trading for these players that we want, like Lauri Markkanen, he wants a contract extension, right? Brandon Ingram, he wants
I
a
do
contract extension.
I do that.
I'll do
Yeah.
Lauri. I'm not.
I'd
doing
extend Laurie out of all of them. That's it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Brandon
I'd extend, bro. I would extend Laurie the moment I trade for him. What is he, like 26 years old, bro? All-star.
No, I agree.
All day.
But
All
what
day.
What did you guys think about? And obviously, money plays a factor in Miami. Actually, with this report, I don't know how it went, but it said DeMar chose staying in the West Coast because that's where he's from and stuff over Miami. But it didn't say directly money purposes. Maybe that played a factor too. But he chose the Kings because he wanted to stay out there and not in the East Coast.
Well, the
That's
money
just
thing-
telling.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
the
Go
Miami,
ahead.
with the Miami thing, we can't. I've said this in the last episode. As a first apron team, we can't do a sign and trade unless we get rid of a couple players. It has to be either Tyler, Duncan, Terry, Jimmy, whoever that makes
Yep.
over whatever. We're like 8 million. We're 8 million in the first apron. So
Yeah.
we couldn't do the sign and trade anyway. And I don't get this whole sentiment. I get it if it's like Paul George, Kawhi, even DeMar wanting to play for the LA teams or Donovan wanting to play for the New York teams, going home. But like, who gives a shit on the West Coast? For 6 months of the year, you're traveling 5 times a week. Like, you don't live there. Like the rest of the year, you live in LA, you live in Miami, like LeBron and Wade and all these other celebrities do, right? Like, you move. Like, you're not home.
Facts.
You're home a few days a week, but you're always on the road. You play half the season on the road, half the season at home. You're always traveling. It's not like you're going out in Ohio. Like, you're in your hotel, just playing cards, playing dominoes, like with the boys, playing some video games, chilling, going get some food. Like, I don't understand that whole sentiment of like living somewhere during the season because it doesn't matter too much, I guess. But some people
agree.
care. Some people care. I mean, it is a piece, right? You would rather be home in your actual home that you want to live in, right?
Yeah, in your bed. I guess so.
And your
I
family
mean,
wants to
look,
be there, but anyway.
I mean, honestly, we just need to stop. Like, and me, I say this for myself. We need to start having this mentality that, people are gonna want to come to play in Miami. Oh, it's Miami. It's Pat Riley. It's big booty bitches. Excuse me. But you know what I mean? Like, we need to stop this sentiment of, people are just gonna want to come here because no, we need to like stop and think. Maybe what Big O's been saying is right. Maybe last time Pat Riley really got a player was Shaq. Maybe the
That's
person
facts,
that was
though.
really
That's
getting
facts.
all these players
It's
was
D-Wade.
Dwayne Wade.
You
Yeah.
got Victor Oladipo, Jimmy Butler, LeBron
Facts.
James, Chris
Facts.
Bosh,
Facts.
bro, and the list goes
Facts.
on. Terry Rozier.
All of that.
Shit.
All of that. So
Nobody cares
maybe
about Pat Riley's rings.
maybe we need to go back to let's actually be that first class organization. Let's actually allow, because what's our reputation right now? It's not Pat Riley, it's Spo. It's Spo taking chicken bleep and turning it into chicken salad. So
Hey,
he's our prime successor.
Look, in free agency, the players
USA
that we
team.
brought in the last couple of years is Kyle Lowry, Avery Bradley, Alec Burks, and
My man with the
Josh
Avery Bradley. That was so random.
and Josh. No, but those are our free agency players that we brought in the last couple of years.
Jesus Christ.
Talk about the buyout players besides Kevin Love too. Bringing in Dwayne Dedmon and Zeller and all these other
Well,
guys.
look, I mean that's the reason
Ariza.
why hey, look, and remember, you guys, that's why I like Andy Ellsberg. This dude is smart. I don't think the Heat are going to use the mid-level exception. I think the Heat are going to stay at 14 players because we're under the second apron. So remember, a player gets bought out and they go in the free agency market. A lot of these teams that are loaded can only offer the minimum, where Miami can offer the biannual exception. Excuse me, the mid-level exception.
Yeah, but
So,
Ernest,
yo,
what player is going to be like? And you're right. No, that's a very good point. I just don't see what player that's going to get
Gordon
bought.
Hayward.
Westbrook.
Or
Westbrook,
someone,
bro.
One of those guys,
Westbrook
yeah.
might not get traded and he gets
Hold up.
bought out.
I know some tea about that. I already know some tea about that.
Oh, snap.
You don't know
Going-
shit. What are you
Hold
trying
up.
to say? What do you know about this?
No, I'm telling you, what Denver's trying to do. This is real shit right here. He's
Oh,
not
man,
going.
they're going to get him. I
Yeah.
knew it.
Aggregate it.
I knew it.
He's not going to Miami. Denver's playing the long game. They're waiting for the
Yep.
Clippers to buy him out because they don't want to trade any assets for Russell Westbrook.
Yep.
And Denver's is going to be playing with Russell's going to be playing with Denver this season.
Okay, but Denver doesn't have their mid-level exception. So here's what I'm trying to tell you.
Fair
Russell
enough.
gets bought out, right?
Yep.
Denver can offer him the minimum, but Miami calls him and they say, we'll give you the mid-level and you come here with no, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I think the Heat are going to do. A lot of these championship teams, when a player gets bought out, all they can do is offer the minimum, which is cool because you're going to get your money where you got bought out, and then that team's going to give you a little more money. But if Miami can tell a guy like Russ that gets bought out, yo, before you go there and take the minimum, I got the mid-level exception for you. No state income taxes, some of the girls with the luscious backside in the world, and the best coach in the NBA. I mean,
Hey, but
does
you know-
it interest you?
You know what I'll say that because I can speak for Russ. I love Miami. That's my team. Russ, and I want Russ to Miami, but Russ to
Right.
Miami really doesn't make sense. They don't have enough shooters for Russ to be successful, and that's really the truth.
I mean, look,
No.
Hero,
do you
Duncan,
mean?
Highsmith, Kelly
Yeah.
Ware,
Nah, that's
Uh,
not a
You
Kevin
got
Love off the
shooters.
bench. Jay Rich
Kevin
can
Love
hit
off the
threes.
bench. Jay Rich can
Alec
hit threes.
Burks.
Bam can hit threes. Bam is getting
Yo.
there. Jimmy, 42%.
Yes.
Nah,
We
nah.
need a backup point guard. We need a backup point
Yo,
guard.
listen. Even Martell knows it. We don't have much. It's not much shooting on this team for Russ
Yeah.
to really use his worth. When you look at a Denver team, they have shooting over there just for Murray, Jokic,
Porter.
Michael
Porter.
KCP's gone. That's a big loss there.
No, it's a huge
I think
loss.
I think the Heat have enough shooters, bro. Like
I
for,
do
for a
too.
guy like
In my
Russ,
opinion,
look,
I don't
we need
think
a point guard. We
I
we
agree.
got size. We need a point guard.
Drew
Russ
Smith?
could fit.
Shut
And
up.
look, and I'll be honest with you guys. I think you're going to see a different Bam next year. That's one thing none of us are talking about. This dude is emerging, and he's playing with USA right now. He's playing with the best players right now. I think I don't know, man. Like I think if I'm Spo, I'm building the offense around Bam next season. Like I'm going to try it out.
And
But-
Ernest, to help to add on to that, pick and roll with Terry Rozier. Like Terry played 31 games with us last year. It took a little while. It's hard to get traded midseason to a new team, assimilate
Yep.
into their offense and their schemes. He started off shitty. He got way better, was averaging like 23, 24 points per game in that last week before he got hurt. He only averaged 16, 17 total, but he wasn't going to average 23 on this Heat team. He was on the shitty Charlotte team, shot chucking. So if he can get up to 19, 20 points per game, develop a nice pick and roll game with Bam Adebayo, Ernest, having
Yeah.
Terry in a full, to your point, we haven't had Terry in a off-season training camp and a full season. If he's healthy, that's huge. Like that's also impactful. Is getting he's our third best player, like right?
Yeah.
Who is he not our third best player after Bam and Jimmy?
I think a lot of guys on this team, like I think the one positive thing about this team could be next season is you have a lot of guys that can give you 20 to 30 on any given night.
Who's
I think
the
that's
30
one thing
though?
about
Listen,
us.
Who's
the
the
last thing
30
I'll
though?
say-
Jimmy
the
or
la-
Bam?
Terry, Bam, Jimmy, Tyler. Tyler, out of 82 games, he might give you 2 30-point games. You know,
Look,
but
the
That's
last
not
thing I'll say is, if you get a jump from Jaime, who can just shoot the ball, right, and you get a jump from Jovic, then we're talking. That's
I
all
agree.
I'll say.
It can happen.
facts.
That
And what
can
do you guys think
happen.
about Kel Ware, man? I think Kel Ware is going to
Well-
make a statement next year.
Well, the thing is, the reason why I didn't say Ware is because, bro, Ernest, they brought Thomas Bryant back for a reason. They're not going to be playing Ware too much for the. I have a feeling. I think it's dumb. But they brought Bryant back for a reason because they're like, all right, well, let's see what Ware can bring.
I think they brought him back, bro, because Kevin Love. I think with Love, they messed up bad last year. Love was doing great in the beginning of the season. They burnt him out.
They played
I
him too
think
much,
Love, Love is an insurance for the second part of the season. Thomas Bryant is just in case of an injury because they let go of Orlando Robinson. So it's like we have Bam, we have Ware. It's his first year. Love is the Udonis Haslem, but he could play, but we're gonna need him later on in the year. And then Bryant is an insurance policy just in case Love can't play. So I agree with Trent. It might be a little bit slow for Ware in the beginning, but look, Jaime Jaquez took off in the beginning of the year, so that's a possibility. I think Spo should give Ware a shot. Ware is something that Bam has never had, a 3-and-D center. We've had Kelly Olynyk, we've had Myers Leonard, but we've never had a 3-and-D center, and that's Kel'el Ware. Put him next to Bam. Give it a shot. See if it works.
But how long will it take before Spo actually gets him into the rotation? Because I feel like right with Jovic, with Hawkins was kind of thrown in there because he was that 4-year
Injuries.
23-year-old college player, plus the injuries to Caleb, to Haywood, to Jimmy a little bit here and there. So are they going to throw him in the fire? I want him to. I want him to be the backup big going in. I feel like they're going to start him off in the G League so he can get some reps there, obviously, get some minutes there, just like they did with
They
Jovic.
drafted him high. I mean, like Jovic was a late draft pick, and they came back from a first seed. It's different with Ware. They got him in the middle of the draft.
I hope so.
And bro, and like you see him play, and you're
I saw
like, he
him.
can
I
help
was at the
immediately.
game.
Yeah,
I saw that person.
that's
Even
what
in
I'm
a bad
saying.
game, he had 5 blocks. He had 12, 6, and 5 in his first game.
He needs to stay in Miami for a month and eat the food down here. Like for real, he needs to gain some size. But he'll be fine. He's down here in Miami. He can have colados all day long. He'll be good.
I love coladas. That's what I need right now. I'm going to the Giants game, the baseball game, first game of the season that I've gone to today. So I need a colada myself. But anyway,
Facts.
thank you so much for hopping on, boys. It was fun just having the crew on an episode without a guest. So that was fun. Don't forget to like, comment, and share and subscribe to all of our channels. We have some guests lined up this week as well as next week. So we plan on having more roundtables.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So thank you again, guys. Anything else, Martel?
Like, share, comment, subscribe.
And that is enough said. Yeah, buddy. Let's go.